Now is the time to free your mind and express yourself. Welcome back to the Creative Yard where your creative journey begins. I'm your host, Ariana Jones, and today we are joined by special guest Taniya Jones. And if you don't know who Taniya is, let me give you a quick background. While in college, she was a member of NABJ and then became president, created a new, fresh organization by the name of Black Women in Sports, was a news anchor, sports reporter, and broadcast journalist for IU Newsnet, and that's just to name a few. Taniya is a multimedia journalist and the creative director and founder of Essentially Black Media Company, a place for culture and Black media to thrive. Now, Taniya, I'm so excited to have you on this
So
episode
excited to be
today.
here.
Thank you. Yes. It's a full circle moment for NABJ and for me. So thank you for coming into the Creative Yard. So before we jump into where you're at today, I want to take the listeners along the journey from where you first started. So tell us where you grew up.
So I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee. I grew up in all kind of places. So, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, all those places. They're like a little small, like little smaller, little counties in Nashville. But that was home for me. And then we end up moving to Indianapolis, and I grew up on the far east side of Indianapolis. And so it was I wouldn't say that it was rough, but being a kid from the far east side of Indianapolis, it took a lot of resilience. You kind of had to know the ropes. You kind of had to know what you were doing in order to stay safe, to stay alive, not to get into too much trouble. So I'm glad that I was one of the ones that made it out. But yes, I'm from Nashville and far east side of Indy.
I spent some years in Far East Side. I still live over here. So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
hmm
But how did your roots from back home kind of affect who you became to be today?
Wow, that's a really good question. Wow. Let's get into it. Okay. So I would say growing up in Nashville, I am a Southern Belle by default. Growing up, like, and being around Southerners, they teach you the essence of love and like what that means and how to incorporate love in your everyday life, your walk with God, your walk with yourself, your walk with your peers, and just what that feels and looks like, right? So I tried to channel that love that I got inheritedly into like others. And so that's what kind of drove my passion for wanting to be a creative director, a creative myself, but also a owner of like my own company because I love Black people that much. I think that our culture gets tampered with by different races to prove that, they can do it too, but nobody can do it like us. And so me learning that from back home that nobody can do it like us and that you take care of home first, which is family, which is, whatever hood you from, which is your turf, then you'll be able to like go beyond your means. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's 100% how I feel.
I definitely would agree with that. What were some of the traditions back in Tennessee? Because I'm sure you visit as well. What
Yeah.
are some of those traditions you like to keep alive that shows through your work?
Wow. I think what I like to keep around is one of my grandmothers, she paints, and then the other one, she cooks a lot. And so the one that cooks a lot, I use her inspiration in my everyday life, right? So I cook for myself every night, like when I get home. So it doesn't matter if I'm coming from the gym, doesn't matter if I'm coming from work. Like I cook for myself and I eat leftovers because that's what my granny and my family did. But outside of that, the granny who painted, like I took a lot of like her creative drivenness, and like her sweetness and her urge to care for people. And the one that paints, she cooks a lot too. But something that I would say that I pulled from home a lot is watching different people from different backgrounds in Tennessee. Like, and so I'm talking about from golds in their mouths to braids to the way that they dress and they ride horses and they go dirt bike riding. And, we all in the mud. Like, I don't mind getting dirty. And so, like, I take a lot of like that and I compartmentalize it into like my own little fashionable thing, like I feel like, you know how like in a media school, we learn how to be visually creative. Like visuals are everything. That means a lot. And so me learning that and being trained on that, it kind of helped with my art today. And they can't see us, right?
If you want to use the visuals, we can, but
Okay,
it's
but I was
optional.
gonna show you something, but
Okay, you can
it
show me.
it it just but it kind of goes to show like there's this art piece that I made, and you're actually probably gonna be the first person to see this
I like
off
it
of
already.
Jeanette.
I like it already. And it's hair.
It's hair. And
Ah,
so this is actual weave with, the hair ties, the balls. And then
I
these are
love
like
it.
different styles that we would get as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has barrettes and rat tail comb. And so like the title of the painting is I Grew Up a Little Girl, and I got my inspiration from one of my favorite artists, and her name is Solange.
Mm-hmm.
And so Solange has this song called Dreams. And it kind of starts like, I grew up, you know the song, girl. You
Yes,
know the
yes.
song. And so that, like, that right there, just that creative expression of her being a black woman and creating this art form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel that's what drives. I probably went out on a whole tangent,
I
but
love it.
that
Listen,
that's my answer to that.
we're gonna hop all into that because that was like so inspiring, and I loved it immediately as soon as I saw like hair,
Yes,
the little
like,
bows. I'm so familiar. We're all familiar with that, so that's amazing. But some of the traditions, I do be seeing you cooking a lot on your social
hmm
media, so that's cool. Like that's actually, it's implemented into your work, and we can kind of hop into journalism. But like, what
hmm
initially sparked your interest into journalism?
So I've always been a writer my whole life, and I've always like talked to myself all the time. I always talk to myself. My mom never made me feel weird for talking to myself. She never asked who you talking to. Like, it was just one of those things where it's like, girl, I'm talking to myself. And so talking to myself drove me to write. And so in any part of school, whether that was grade school, middle school, or high school, even in college, I was always good in English. Super, super, super good in English. I almost mastered every English class I ever had. I've never had a C in any English class that I've ever had. And so with that, I learned how to write creatively. And so then when I would submit certain work to teachers, they'd be like who taught you how to say that? Like it's almost as if it's poetic, you know? And so I'm like, oh, okay. Like I know that's a skill that I have. I can write because I can talk and I talk a lot. It's yap over here, full yap. But with that, I went to college, and when I came in freshman year, I didn't even go into journalism or the media school. I was actually in the school of public health, and I wanted to be an epidemiologist. And an epidemiologist is a person who studies disease and why it happens. And so I thought around that time, since I came in during the pandemic, I'm like, what a better time to study disease so I can help heal black people, because I'm all about the black person, the black
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't work out. After I took one little bio class, I said, not for me, can't do it, won't do it. So I started hopping around, jumping, and I took a class in the media school. They let me do that. So I met Cheryl Jackson. Shout out to Cheryl Jackson. If you decide to listen to this, I love you. And she is one of the main reasons why I have the title multimedia journalist. Like
Mm-hmm.
she helped me understand my worth very own, and using those type of tags to put on myself, because you are exactly the work that you do. Do not diminish yourself. If you have creatively helped on a project, and I'm talking about create the whole project from start to finish, whether you had help from others or not, you are a creative director, and
100%.
like act like it. And
Yeah.
so I got into writing by writing scripts. I found my love for writing again. I stopped for a very long time in high school, but I found my love for writing again when Cheryl had me writing scripts. And so I asked her, I'm like, I don't know, like, how do I write scripts? Like, what does that look like? And she's like, you literally write exactly how you want to say it on camera. Write how you feel it and how you would hear it. And so she would have me talk. She would have me talk. She'd be like, no, write. So I would write. And the scripts got better and better and better and better. So far, so that I was writing scripts for the NFL, I was writing scripts for the NBA, I was writing scripts for NCAA, and I'm writing scripts on specific teams. So I'm writing about the Colts, I'm writing about the Chiefs, I'm writing about the Pacers, I'm writing about like everyone, right? And so I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I get to go talk about it in studio. So writing has always been a passion for me, but I would definitely say the passion ignited again in college, like sophomore year of college for sure.
Yeah, that's around that time everyone starts to like, do I really want to do this or do we want to keep
Yeah,
going?
you kind of figure out.
I know one thing for sure, ChatGPT is not taking your job because
Never, never.
if you can write and you can like convey your message and what you're good at, like for you it's talking,
Hmm.
there's no form of technology that can take away like that kind of human power. And
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed for creatives or like media school kids in general is just like math is not on the top of that list.
Hey, let me tell you something. I actually failed math in college. This was junior year. Yeah, and like I had to retake it. And I hate math so much. It's not our friend. It's not our friend.
Same. I need visuals. I need art. I need something. Like
Yes, I
if you
need.
put a formula in front of me, I'm just like, why are you doing this?
You're hurting
But
me.
literally. But you talked about Cheryl, and what do you think she saw in you the first time she met you to become the sort of mentor towards you?
Wow, these are some really good questions. Like, wow, where did you get these from?
That was off the dome.
Like, I don't even know. So when Cheryl first saw me, I opened my mouth, and that's when she knew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as simple as I can put it. Like she heard me speak, and actually, I just spoke at Media School Experience that yesterday, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, "And by the way, you really do have a nice speaking voice." And I'm talking to you right now, the way that I was talking to that group of people in the hall, in President's Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, how can you even hear it? But I guess people have different ears from us, right? Like we're always hearing ourselves talk, we're always seeing ourselves, the way we look. So like we just know what that is. But like people see different things in us that we can't see. And I think that's the beauty about life. That's the beauty about the human experience. And that's also the beauty about the work that you do. Is that people see your light better than you do. You just have to see your light. And so at the time I didn't see my light. But Cheryl saw it. And immediately, like when she heard me speak, she put me in front of a camera, but under a condition. She told me, she said, in order for you to take my class, she said, you have to go and learn how to work this camera. She said, I'm going to send you to Alan's workshop. She said, and you have to get 100%. She's like, in order to take my class. And so Cheryl being a black woman, she looks just like me. You know, it's like, it's one of those things where like, she was that hard on me. She did that to me because she wanted me to learn. Ain't nothing in this life free. Ain't nothing here that you're not gonna have to work for. So yes, I'm gonna need you to know how to work a XF400 Canon camera, an industry camera with a
Mm-hmm.
shotgun mic on it, a lavalier, a microphone, all that in 1 hour. Yes, I'm gonna need you to know how to work that whole thing in 1 hour because the workshop's only an hour.
Yep. And those skills are vital. I
Vital.
know the first time that I met you, I think it was NABJ. It was an NABJ event, and I come
Hmm.
and you were speaking. I was like, wow, she's a really good speaker. And then I joined NABJ, and then I was
Hmm.
like, wow, she's a really great speaker. I was like, I think that was one of the first things that people can pick up from you. You also have a southern accent. So
Hmm.
does that like ever were you ever like self conscious about that? Because coming to the Midwest, I don't hear an accent, especially in indie. But like if you
Yeah.
put on a southern accent or anything that's a little bit different from Midwest culture, it's like that's different. Like what's your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, I am a proud member of the code switching community. Currently getting out of that because I don't got a code switch for nobody. If you want to work with me, you gonna work with me. If not, it wasn't meant to be. But for me, a lot of my southernness comes out when I talk. I talk super fast. And so sometimes I have to tone it down, like I'm doing right now, in order for people to convey what I'm saying. And so like, but if not, I'm like, and then like it'll start coming out and my words will start slurring. Like it's a couple of things that I'll say that some people be like, like, where you from? Where are you from? And it doesn't help that My dad's side of the family is from Tennessee. Then my mom's side of the family is from Chicago. So, but
Mm.
when they moved to Chicago from when black people were the Great Migration. So when they were migrating from the South to the Midwest, that's why you have so many Southern people that live in
Mm.
Chicago or Indiana because they came over here for work. My people who currently live in Chicago, they travel from Alabama. So like I got a lot of southernness built deep down in the soul. So how do I combat like turn it on and turn it off? It's just a professional thing. I do consider myself a super professional person. When it's time to handle business, time to handle business. Now I will say I may not be so prompt in time. Lord knows I'm working on it. I may not be prompt in time, but I bring a good time. I'm telling you, we'll have a good time when I get there. No worries. Punctuality has never been too keen of me. I actually just seen a post that said creative people are normally not on time. And I'm just like, you know what? Why does that make sense though? Because why would we be on time? We're too busy trying to figure out the next thing, what to put on. You
Time is
know?
a construct. It's made up.
Time is a construct and it's not even real, mind you.
It's not.
But another story for another day. But
Mhm.
my southern accent, it comes out like that, or especially when I'm enunciating myself, you know? So I love it so much. I love home. I love the fact that I'm able to wreck the 615. So yeah.
I can relate to that experience because my people, they're from Mississippi, North Carolina,
Yeah.
and then my grandma's
Country.
from
Real
Tennessee.
country.
Yeah, deep south.
North Carolina sold it for me. You would have thought
Yeah,
Mississippi did. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, that's besides the point. Before that, some of your interest lies within sports media. My question to you would be, as a young black woman in that field, specifically when you were in college, how did you navigate some of the challenge you may have faced early on?
Faced early on so far as being a creative?
However you want to take it, but I'm thinking more so of like you being a black woman and that being a predominantly
Oh, dominated
male.
field. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Sports media. So here we go. My mind was elsewhere, girl. Like literally, like I'm like, you know what? Some chicken do sound good. But sorry. So I would say with that being a male dominated field, I came in feet on the ground running and I came in trailblazing and I didn't care who dominated the field because I know me. And
Hmm.
so I look the way that I look. I have a short haircut. I have a fade. You feel me? I get designs in my hair. I got waves. And, I make up my face a little bit here and there. And I put my clothes on. And that's what I look like. But the thing about it is that my hair presents a certain type of masculinity that intimidates people. And it intimidates a lot of the white community. So it makes it seem as if I probably can't do this, or I'm just going through a phase or whatever may have you, But then when I open my mouth and I start making things happen and I start telling the story the way it needs to be told in a better way, in the original way, then people are like, oh, this black girl can talk. Oh, this black girl can do that. And so a lot of my colleagues in my sports media era, they were like all men. They were like in frats. They would party on the weekends. Then come in, girl. They came in like tennis shoes and like jeans and with a suit. Like it just wasn't professional to me. So I told myself, you set the standard. So I came in there heels. I came in there closed-toed heels, white
Hmm.
pumps with a nice dress on and some glasses. My hair freshly cut or done, or if it wasn't freshly cut or done, it was laid down. And I came in there looking like something. And I came in there looking like I wanted your job. I came in there looking like I can do your job. And I came in there looking like and I have your job. And so that's just all that was. And that's how I navigated that field. And I still feel like I navigate that field to this day, although I'm kind of taking a back seat on sports and focusing and honing more on black media and creative media and more of my journalism side, because I spent, and as you know, a lot of my tenure, especially at IU, closer to the end of my tenure, all sports, like sports. And I'm like, dang, I love sports, but how did I get here? Like, I feel like I've lost the passion for like writing. I feel like I've lost the passion for creating. I feel like I've lost the passion of like, trying to tell the story that my people want to hear, and that's their story, their Black story. And so I got out of college and I was like, well, then you focus on that and you put a back seat on sports because you've done that. You know that field. You could do that field. And so when I got out of college and I was upset that I wasn't getting sports jobs that I wanted, that was just God's direction of like, hey, you got to take a back seat on this, okay? You've done this for long enough. You see that we have other business to do, and that is the business of your people. That's the era that I'm in.
Right.
And I feel like I will forever now be in that area. If I do decide to go back into sports, it will be something in accordance to Black male and female athletes and catering to that demographic, and nothing, and not in a way of like, any other demographic that plays these sports I won't be talking to. It's not like that, but I'm the correspondent for my people.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we need
So
that in our community. There's not too many real narratives or honest
hmm
narratives being shared in the media about it. It seems like I hear a lot of exploitation and a lot of like, it's just untrue stories that I'm not really like getting, the best narrative
untrue
about.
stories. Yeah.
And you mentioned like keeping that passion alive. Obviously, you didn't go through college alone. How was your community or circle beneficial to you for your growth in
Um,
college?
I have a really close knit family, especially my immediate family. And so my mom, like, I think everyone deserves mothers, right? But like when you have a mom that will like break her back, break her bank, lose her life, anything for you, you can do about anything in this world and nothing scares you. I'm talking about not even a no from the company that you dreamed of working for. Like my mom is literally my saving grace. My auntie is literally my saving grace. My cousin is literally my saving grace. My other cousins are my saving grace. Like my family is what like held me together in college. I'm talking about from sending the funds, because you know you need the funds. Sending the funds, even helping out on rent, girl, even helping me do certain things that I need to do so far as, broadcast journalism. Like that was a thing. And so community was a big part. And so that's why I do the work that I do now. And that's why I have my own business and this, that, and the fourth, because I'm like, without community, we're nothing. Like without genuine community, we are nothing. And so when you look at your community and you're like, you know what, I can do this. And community doesn't just look like family. Mind you, mine was just a strong part. Community looks like my professors. Community looks like my advisors. Shout out to Kathy Essex from groups. It looks like the group's presidents and the administrators. It looks like the Neil Marshall Cultural Center. Community looks like the IMU. Community looks like NABJ. Community looks like BWIS. Community looks like me. So it's just like when you have community, you have everything. You won't need for anything, because I feel like as Black people, we've lost the plot of village and community. Like when we were coming up in all different parts of the world, we were a village. We traveled with each other to places. We helped each other carry things. We helped raise each other's kids. We've lost the sense of community by living in this world that dominated us, right? And so, with that being said, it's just like, I don't want to subscribe to losing community anymore. I want to work within the community. Community help me. I help the community. Community feed me. I feed the community. And that's just all it is. And the community has fed me. So now it's time for me to get my up, put on my apron, and go feed the community. And that's sharing their voices.
100%. I think that's the value in journalism. But like
hmm
you were saying, it definitely takes a village. And I think that's one of the most fortunate things for you to have in your journey, because it's obviously you can't do anything in this world really alone. And
hmm
if you try to, then you're kind of selling yourself short, because you're giving your everything to no one who's. So
I feel that. I feel
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So you mentioned before you started a new organization on campus by the name of BWIS that essentially created a platform for women of color in the sports media profession at IU Bloomington. And like we were just talking about, it's easy to become consumed with self and let yourself be the representation of that segment group. But
Hmm.
creating a community breaks the mold and uplifts others. And we just talked about the underrepresentation of Black women in sports. But in sports media in specific, how did founding BWIS help you address some of the challenges you face as a Black woman in journalism?
I would say I built the organization off the simple idea of there's no organization on this campus that caters to women in sports. Are y'all dumb? Like, what's going on? Not even that. Not to just women in sports, but Black women in sports. Because there are quite a few Black women that were in sports at that time, and they are joining these white sports organizations. And it's just like, but why? And so that like fueled that fire for me because we are already underrepresented as Black women in this country, in this era of life, and just in history, period. And so, as Black women begin to evolve and become billionaires, millionaires, hell, thousandaires, you know, we are breaking barriers. And so, what a better way to found an organization that breaks the most important barrier, and that's sports. Sports is consumed by trillions of people, trillions. And I'm talking about, when I say trillions, broken down, break down the billions, because some people are actually multiple watching it. Even their kids are watching it. And so, with that being said, and this is all over the world, why would you not want to see somebody that looks like you in front of your screen? Why would you not want to see somebody who looks like you representing something that you want to do on your campus? Why would you not want to see more fresh Black faces and creativity, work, and dedication on your campus that is already a PWI? So I created it to drive a force straight through the white based organizations that just weren't doing enough. And so now BWIS, we are, and well, not we, because I don't go there anymore. But my lovely ladies, they are we are on our first like actual set of young women who are on the e-board, and they're doing a super good job, and I'm super duper proud of them for just keeping the name alive. And I hope it's one of those things to where I could be 30 and I'm still in contact with whatever president is in rotation. And I mean that, because I'm not gonna play about that. Like, if I built this organization, I'd be darned if somebody comes up in there and mess my stuff up. Okay, not my name. The legacy got to live on. So yes, I need to be in contact with every new president. I needs to be looking who, so we can make sure that they are representing us in the light that we need to be represented in as Black women in sports. We not gonna play around.
And that's,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
about to say that's how you keep like the village and the community alive.
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah,
something that you put so much into to just fail. That just shows like you kind of never really cared. But it shows
right.
that you care a lot, that you even can look back on, people in these positions who are in charge of running it. But you talked a little bit about why, but I want to ask you more about the impact of BWIS and how do you see it benefiting more students in the future who join?
I think it'll benefit more students in the future by its growth. I think it will start getting more quote unquote popular, or it'll start becoming one of those things to where it's like more girls will start seeing the work that they're doing, and then maybe they want to change their major. Maybe they just like the way that BWIS handles business. Maybe they got a friend in BWIS and it's like, oh, come on, girl, like invite your other three friends. Like, I want it to become a thing where it's like the members of the organization are large in number, So that's kind of like my goals, like for the organization, or just period. And I want them to be able to understand that you control the divide, and you got to know that. And so there is community in numbers. Okay. So yeah.
Yes, there definitely is. What
Yeah.
advice would you give people or to young Black women pursuing a career in sports media?
Advice that I would give them is walk in there like you own it. Like, literally walk into the studio, walk on the sideline of the field, walk into that interview, and know that you already got this in the bag and it's done. It's yours.
Exactly.
Like, that's the highest point of manifestation you can ever go, is walking into something and knowing it's yours. And even if it don't work out for you, okay, lesson learned. We are to move on now, you know?
And there's
So, yeah.
there's something else coming behind it. So
And always, it's always something else come behind it, because everything is working in your favor, and you have to know that. Like, everything is working for you simultaneously in your favor, to where that you will fail at nothing but be great at everything, because you have this attitude about yourself. So if you have the attitude of I can't do it walking into sports, you can't do that shit. If you got the attitude of walking in and being like, oh, I'm gonna stutter on my words. You're gonna stutter on your words because it's premeditated. You've already convinced yourself that you can't do it. You're gonna stutter. All this. If you are going to be a black woman in sports, you need to understand that there's already a divide. You are maybe not wanted here. So you got to make them know it's okay if I'm not wanted here. I'm always a need every single time.
hmm
So that's my voice. Become the need. Become the need, not the want.
this is a very inspiring conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like, because I feel that way about myself, and I feel that way about young black women in general. Like, we have
Exactly.
so much to offer this world. Like, I feel like even yourself, like, you do a lot with within the organization. Like, I feel like even, and this is kind of going off a little tangent, but let me cook. This is like, I just feel like even like when, it was time to pick the new president or vice president or anybody for the e-board, like I looked at yourself and I said, well, I think she's a baby trailblazer now. So it's just like, why would she not be able to run an organization? And so I stepped out on faith, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just say, yeah. Like, I'm going to just have to say, yeah, like, it has to be this way, because I mean, like, who else gonna do it though? And then you just continue to prove yourself. Like, I'm talking about, from I literally sit in my bed and watch you guys' like recaps of
Mhm.
the day and like what you're doing in the community. And like, somebody from the media school actually just shouted y'all out, and they
Oh
said
wow.
that the way that NABJ is growing on this campus is at like an alarming rate. Like, you guys are growing so fast. And when I say growing, meaning you're growing in the media. Like, NABJ wasn't as active in the media. You've gained so many new followers. People actually come to your events. Like, things are happening that things weren't before. And
hmm
so, just kudos to you for being a young black woman in media, wanting to make a difference with whatever that may look like. But you know the tone. Like, I feel like you've always known the tone. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I was not even considering myself of being like that type of leader until
Mm-hmm.
like it reached the end of my sophomore year where I was like, wait a second, I can definitely do it because I
You
have the
can.
vision. I had the
You
vision, but it was
can.
just like getting over your own personal
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and minds, just
Yeah.
being like, forget it and just do it. Yeah, but we kind of went into it, but like NABJ, our sole purpose is to uplift black journalists and media
Mm-hmm.
professionals, and we just touched on it. You're going right on the theme, but like
I love it.
we've grown a lot, and it's always like reassuring and, appreciated when other people can see that growth as well. So we all have our different experiences in college, especially at a young age, and being involved in organizations. What is
Mm-hmm.
something impactful that you've learned when you were involved with NABJ?
Something impactful that I've learned about NABJ is that you have to make your own lane. And when you make your own lane, you kind of have to make your own lane, but help others understand that this lane over here is still good too. It may not be as popular as everybody else, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still good too. Like, I joined NABJ when it wasn't as popular, and it was like it needed a push. And so I'm like, that's why I always advocated, and I always told people on campus, like, they were like, but isn't that only about journalism and writing? Like, I don't do that. Like, I want to be a chemist. And it's just like, but you can still come and learn about your people, because it's a lot of what we do. It's like what we talk about is black people who are creatives, black people who write, black people who are trailblazers within the media sector. And so you can still come and learn about that, and you can also still be a part of the collective. But a
Exactly.
lot of people need to understand that, like, there's always you don't just have to be in one area. Like, you don't just have to be just one person. You can have different, like, themes and interests about yourself, you know? So NABJ kind of taught me to have your own lane, because NABJ is very much an organization that they have their own lane. NABJ is its own lane, period. Like, it may be a global organization, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to follow NABJ's message or what they're saying, or even the people that are in the organization, simply because you want to grow and you want to learn more.
100%. And I always reassure people, I'm like, you don't have to be a journalist. I'm not even in
You
journalism.
don't have to
I'm
be a
in,
journalist.
exactly, I'm in advertising, but I still care to hear and share stories about specifically Black people. I'm just going to be
Yeah.
honest, you know?
But if you think about it, like, even with you being in advertising, that's still a form of journalism. And I say that because although you're advertising, you're sending a message, right? And so sending a message, or even, using your voice, and maybe you're not using your direct voice, but you are behind whatever voice is being used, that's still a form of journalism, because, like, you are still getting the message out, and all journalism is getting the message out. Like, news reporters and people of that caliber, they only do what they do to get the message out, to inform the public.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. So we know that you're no stranger to creativity and building communities. So I
Yeah.
want to talk to you more about your new venture in the media industry with Essentially Black.
Yeah.
So obviously you did the work in college that led to greater avenues when you graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Some rejection led to redirection, but that's okay. And since then, you've created multiple online brands that represent your style and overall aesthetic. You touched on this earlier, but your hairstyle in particular stands out. It's one of the first things that I've noticed about you before you even opened your mouth. And so, how does your look and your style play a part in the brand that you've built?
Mm. I would say, and I mean, of course, you've seen me. We know each other. Like, I ain't gonna act like we not, homegirls. But my style, it comes from different boroughs. So I like to borrow and play. I like to borrow, play, and give back. And
Okay.
I give back by putting that on.
Okay.
Okay. So I like to lean into New York fashion. New York fashion has always had a place in my heart. Southern style, I use that a lot to throw into my thing. So I make it New York, but I make it Southern. I make it
Okay.
Southern. And so I love cowboy boots, and I love heeled cowboy boots, to be exact. I love hats. I love golds. I love jean jackets and biker jackets, but also, like, I love a t-shirt with a dress, and maybe some nice fly tennis shoes with a fur. And it's just like, if that ain't NYC, I don't know what. Especially fur. Fur is like a staple in NYC, and I love a good fur. Love a good fur.
Mhm.
I love gold accessories, and I'm talking about, I love maximizing gold accessories. I'm talking about big gold earrings and a nice dainty gold neck with a gold nose piercing, and you got gold bangles all the way up to your elbows, and, like, it's very Black, and it's very culture, and it's very New York and my people. And so I like to add that style to my regimen, because I'm exactly who I know. I know exactly who I am.
Exactly.
I know exactly who I am. And so my style helps fuel Essentially Black, because Essentially Black is just like that. Essentially Black is Black like that. It is we are not toned down for anybody. You see certain publications, and I'm not going to name them because I don't want to be messy, but you see certain publications that they're only highlighting Black celebrities. That's their thing. They highlight Black celebrities, and that's that. Their tone, their verbiage is very white coded. It is very too professional. Essentially Black is fun. We're playful. We're tasteful. We're bold. And that's exactly what we are. And I feel like we need an authentic publication. We don't need the Shade Room. We don't need Spiritual World. We don't need all of these BuzzFeeds and TMZs. We don't need that. We need authentic Black culture. You need to go on Essentially Black's page and feel like you are at a business meeting with your cousins.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that's how I feel. The literally
You're at a business meeting with your cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bold, it's eclectic, it's colorful. It's like
Yes,
you can't help
yes.
but look there. Like if you try to look away, you're gonna look back.
Come on, come on.
But how important is it for you to build your personal aesthetic?
Yeah. So personal aesthetic is important to me. Like it really is. I
Hmm.
actually live my whole life off aesthetics, as you may know. Anytime I post my food pictures, girl, different fonts on the pictures and different playing with the plating and stuff. Like, girl, why you gotta do all that? Girl, eat that chicken. Eat
Right.
that chicken and girl, just eat. It could have been on a paper plate. And the dumbest thing ever is, girl, I'll put all that stuff on a paper plate, girl, take it right off that real plate, put that thing on a paper plate and eat it. Throw it away. Throw it away.
Yeah, you gotta
And
have it.
so
You gotta have it.
yeah, so like my aesthetics, they shine through essentially black, even by the way that I format things. So my current aesthetic right now is so essentially Black's logo is a pearl. And
Hmm.
so pearls are things that it's hard to destruct pearls. It's hard to break them. It's hard to, just say anything to them and they do what you say do. Pearls are one of a kind. And so to me, being that pearls are not destructible, I think black people are like that. We cannot be tamed. They may have thought that we could be tamed, but we cannot be. And so that is exactly what this platform is that we are not taming the voice of local and global black creatives, because that's who essentially black serves, is local and global black creatives. And I put the emphasis on black because I mean, in no shade to nobody else, but like y'all have everything else. We need something for us. And so with that being said, the aesthetic currently is pearls, right? But the way that I play with it is I make the pearls a different color. So there are variations of different essentially black logos that I have made, and they're all in pearl form, but they're in different colors, right? And
Hmm.
so all the different colors mean something. We have like light emerald green, we have a pink, we have a purple, and some of those mean purity, some of those mean awakening, some of those mean peace, some of those mean joy. And so I do it based off the season. So currently the logo for Essentially Black was a light emerald green.
Hmm.
Now it is a soft plush pearl pink. And I did that because we are now going into the spring season where things are growing, things are evolving, things are lighter, things are happening for us. And that's what plush pink makes me feel. And so me changing the logo, that kind of like it plays, right? Like it plays with people's, like they get on the page and they like, wait a minute, that was just yellow. But it's the same logo, girl, just a different font, you know? And so even with that, or even like the color scheme of the page, I'm currently doing the color scheme of the page a yellow color for, brightness, creativity, opportunity. Like I want you to go on the page and instantly get inspired. And that's
Hmm.
my aesthetic. I want you to get inspired by what I do and what I love.
Exactly. It's very intentional.
Every
100%. And I think that's how you have to be. How do you recommend someone finding their signature look?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Play around with your look. Play around with your look. I always did not dress like this. And although I always had style, but play with your look. And when I say play with your look, go find some old stuff in your mama and your granny closet. Go do that. Go find. My mom has like old Coach purses, and she got old Dooney and Burke, and like my mama was a stylish girl. Okay, like when I tell you Trina got up there, and anytime she stepped out, she looked so good, so
Okay.
good, and she put it on so seamlessly. But she played with her look. And so playing with your looks like playing with your hair. Playing with your look looks like playing with different makeup. Playing with your look looks like playing with that different top, with that bottom that don't make no sense, but it don't matter because you make sense
Mm.
and you like it. And so that's what fashion is. Fashion is about playing with your look. It is not about color coding or matching. Then you're just regular, because anybody can color code and match. We've done it. But the thing about it is that like when you throw that glitter sheer top on with that yellow skirt, and maybe you got some shoes that are pink, and then you have a bag that has all those colors in one, that's your fit. You've played with your fit enough to where you found your medium. And then when you find your medium, it's up from there. I feel like once somebody figures out they can dress, or like they can do this, it's over. Like you are forever a fashionable person.
And I saw a tweet just earlier. They were like, fashion is the way to like get, I can't remember the way they phrased it, but fashion is the avenue to like making revenue essentially, because it basically shows that you know yourself. You
Yeah,
step in the room and people are bound to look at you.
they're bound to look at you.
And
Especially for
yeah, recently there's been a lot of discourse on social media about like the clean girl aesthetic and the insta baddie trends, which seem to be
yeah.
driven by online impressions. So with all these trends and pressures on social media, how do you stay true to yourself in your own personal style?
Hmm. Well, fun fact, I actually hate the Instagram baddie aesthetic. And, I know a lot of people are like, because it's degrading. No, it's come to them, but not to me.
Mm.
And so, with that being said, what's come to me is taking vintage clothes and making them chic. Clothes that came out in the 90s and making them 2025 chic, you know? And so, style is important because it shows your personality. So if you don't have personality, you may be subjective to dressing color coded and in designer only. Which that's the Instagram baddie or male effect is it's all designer, head to toe. And like then we're tricked by thinking that we don't have enough or we can't dress or we're not in our medium because we don't have $600 pair of Balenciagas. But think about it is these same people can't afford these things. So it
Right.
is a front. So you're trying to follow a person who one can't dress, two always buys expensive things they can't afford, and three who live beyond their means.
Mm. Took him to church.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where I feel like a lot of people have to try to fit in to like, impress.
Society.
Exactly, exactly. So, how does I especially want to know this because we don't have platforms like other than essentially black. There are really no black platforms that expresses black creativity in the Midwest. So, and I know you stretch out to other states as well, but
Hmm.
it started in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
How does essentially black embrace individuality within Midwest black culture?
I would say that's a really good question. I would say that we possess individuality on the fact that it is Midwest culture. And so there's not a lot of things that are Midwest culture based. And so we create this avenue through media and expression. But I have my promo video, I say this specific word because I pause when I say it and I say good press because there's not enough good press on black people. And when I say good press, meaning the work that they're doing, the artwork that they're making, the clothes that they're styling, the way that they're wearing their hair, the fact that they just built a new building for black people that care to their health, therapy. Like there's not enough of that. There are a couple of, black publications. I think one is called because of them we are because it's one of them. It's one of them, but I really do like that platform though. But sometimes they highlight black death and like sometimes and like I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't care to do that. I don't want to highlight black death because I leave that up to the news outlets and the other publications to do that and the blogs. You guys can do that. If you're catering to the black community in that type of facet, then you can do that. But for me, I want people to know about this new artist that just made this canvas out of complete velvet and spent tireless hours kneading the velvet into the canvas. That's what I want you to know because the next time he drops, you can go cop. That's why I feel like what individualizes us, right? Is that we want good press over here and we want you to see the creativeness of people who are doing the work in your community. And that's just what that looks like.
And I think news sites they serve their purpose, but they also highlight a lot of negativity.
They
I
do.
I've been around people who will leave the news on, people as in like the older folks in my family.
Hmm.
But they'll leave the news on all day and all they have negative to say about the east side is what they saw on the news. But they're not seeing the good things that are coming out of the
The
black
culture from the
community.
east side,
Yeah.
girl. The far east side is so cultural.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. There's so much history, culture, and just a lot within our spaces.
Yeah.
And it's so detrimental to that when all we hear is are negative things. But
A
moving,
shame.
yeah, but moving on to like the branding of essentially black, we talked before, it's very chic, it's modern, it's trendy, it's bold. And you
Hmm.
recently released the February issue Velour with Sydney Page And just by the cover alone, I can tell we already know fashion plays a huge role in how you convey your
A
art.
huge role.
So, can you go into detail about the release of that issue?
Yes, actually, it's one of my prized possessions. But velour was something that came to me, funny enough. I wanted to build my own chocolate company. And so, but like creative chocolates, like, artistic chocolates that different marbles, different colors, all of that, right? And so I was playing around with names, and the first name I came up with is Nior Velour. And Nior Velour is just black velvet, right? And so velvet is a material that you can spill things on it, but it can still be used. You can, it's hard to forget about velvet, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Velvet is one of those fabrics to where it's just like, you know what? It feels good. It makes me feel good. It hugs me. And I wanted that to be the purpose for
Mm-hmm.
the magazine. And so velour just means velvet light in French. And so I'm like, okay, this is cute. This is classy. I like it. So I start like playing around. I'm like, so our slogan is urban refined culture because one, we are very urban, but two, we are refined. Refined meaning we are refined in look, we are refined in style, we are refined in personality, we are refined in expression. And then culture simply meaning that we doing it for the culture. Like you gonna see some stuff in there that if you were to open up a Jet magazine, a Ebony magazine, a Essence magazine, the nostalgia you'll get, you
Mm.
know? And so fashion is a really, really, really big thing for velour because growing up when my mom used to take me to the hair shop with her to get her
Mm-hmm.
hair done, I would always see magazines on, like the different hairstyles in the black magazines for women to pick from, or Jet magazines, or like people who looks like me, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, let me pull from the inspiration that they've already poured and given to the culture. Let me twist that, make it my own, make it more fashion based, but make it to where it's fashion based, but it's local. And then it's fashion based, but it's global. So, like, I would love to work with celebrities, but that's not my whole get up right now. And I don't care to work with celebrities right now. You know who I want to work with? I want to work with the girl who has 5,000 followers on Instagram and she dresses her ass off every day, but only gets 300 likes.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I want to work with because she has something that the world should see. And if my publication, essentially Black Media, if my magazine, Velour, can reach the hands of somebody who can change her life, I've done my work. I've done my work and I've fulfilled my purpose.
And you've uplifted, and now more people are tuning in because you brought, at least to me, to her page, and now I follow her. So
Yes.
love it.
Love Sydney, by the way. Shout out Sydney.
Love that. But how do you want people, you kind of answered this, but how do you want people to connect with future publications of Velour?
Connect with them by opening your heart and your mind, no matter what that front page looks like, because I go off of season, baby. Okay? I go off of straight culture. So you might see something on there that looks different. And I'm talking about looks different, dochi different.
Mm.
You might see something on there that looks dochi different because that's how I like to play with fashion. That's how I like to play with urbanism. That's how I like to play with culture. And so don't just look for the old, okay, well, it's summertime, so she might have some girl in a spring top dress. No. I'm probably gonna have girls outside in some booty cut shorts, washing a nice, I'm talking about 1967 Cadillac,
Cadillac. I knew you was gonna say
and
Cadillac.
1967
Mm-hmm.
Cadillac, and they are in the camera and they are serving mug, they are serving face, they are serving body,
Skin.
and then skin and all,
Mm-hmm.
because that's my culture. Yeah, when the black men in the cars are driving and riding around, and they sitting on 24s and they just need them a car wash, and the lovely young black ladies in their swim gear and shorts and booty shorts are outside like, and we can wash your car for you for a nice price. Thank you. And that's my culture. Riding past that, that's aesthetic to me. So bringing what people see from the hood, bringing what people see from their own communities, it's like people will look at that and be like, you are so hard for that. Like, what made you go and find this old school Cadillac? These girls photograph them and bring back such a nostalgic memory of my uncle going to go get his car washed by the girls in the parking lot. Because that's our culture.
And turned it into art. I literally
Turn it into art.
pictured that. I just pictured Pimp C like playing in the back.
Literally, you get it. See, it's a
Yeah,
whole
I
thing.
hear it. But on the essentially black mission statement, you say that we don't just follow culture, we shape it. So how do you define culture?
Ah, that's great. Culture is your grandmother and your grandfather. Culture looks like you playing out in the sun all day, you smell like outside and you keep running in and outside the house. And your mom is like, so this your last time coming in and outside my house. You either gonna stay outside or you gonna come in. But like here's the thing. You know I can't stay outside. So like that's culture. So like culture to me is black. Culture to me is blackness. And blackness is culture. We built culture. We put the C in culture. And so, with that being said, I can only build off of what I see every day. And that's black people. African Americans have seamlessly trailblazed every part of culture. We've trailblazed pop culture. We've trailblazed country culture. We've trailblazed hip hop, R&B. We've trailblazed rap. We've trailblazed electro music. We've trailblazed jazz, which is one of my favorites. And so that is culture. And culture looks like when other people feed off of you and do exactly what you do. That's culture. So yeah.
Impact and influence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's been a lot of background research and experience in the industry as far as like how successful you are. So in the media world, there's a lot of talented people, but I found that, like you mentioned, what sets people apart is how hard they work. Like you can be talented, but if you don't have the work ethic to put it in, then it means nothing. Because I heard this quote recently that read, hard work beats talent. It's a common quote
Mm-hmm.
that I never really understood until recently. And they were referring to a certain musical artist. I won't say the name, but they were
Mm-hmm.
referring to a certain artist who she can sing, she can dance, all the stuff, but she don't put in that work.
Hmm.
Um, so I
Oh, I
feel
would
like
love to. I would love to know who that is.
I'll tell you after. I'll tell you after. But I feel like these lessons can only be learned through challenges and failures. Are
Yeah.
there any like challenges or failures that you face in your journey that may have like proved to you, oh, I gotta work hard to get this?
The challenges that I would say for me would be people actually consuming the art and liking it. And I kind of like say that in a tone that's like, ugh, because you know people always have this idea of like, girl, who cares about what other people think? But it's like when you are creating art for the people, you want them to love it and like it. And so some challenge that I have is like really just myself, like, making sure that I'm as perfect as I can be, but sometimes it's not gonna be perfect. And that's okay. So you shoot and you try again. So I would say like that's like those are kind of the challenges I face, is not being my own biggest critic, but like making sure that the art that I put out people love.
Right. And that's real. Public opinion does play a large role in the art that we.
Yeah.
But we have come to the end, but we have one more
Mhm.
segment. So it's a trivia game. It's a speed round trivia game based on pop culture and media and self.
Yeah.
There's 10 questions. There's no right or wrong answers. Okay? Are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right, first question. Kendrick or Drake?
Shoot.
Speed round.
Jesus Christ. God. Why? First of all, why?
Messy. Messy.
Can we say both?
I guess. There's only one right answer to me. To me. To me.
Okay, okay. I mean, well, if we're going on the absolute right answer, it's Kendrick, but
Moving on. The
no,
what?
wait, but it's really Drake though. Really Drake though,
Okay,
but
okay, okay.
okay. Right.
Okay.
Come
What's
on.
the last song you listened to?
Oh, wonderful. The last song I listened to, Christ. I think it was a Party Next Door song. And I love Party. Don't make me start thinking about Party. Party it was a Party Next Door song. It was off of I think it was Thursday. Thursday, baby,
Okay.
bring it over here. Yeah.
Okay, okay. One phrase you can't stop saying.
Baby girl. Let me see you do your dance. Let me see you twirl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would you rather have dinner with Issa Rae and Kiki Palmer or Beyonce and Kelly Rowland?
Issa Rae and Kiki Palmer.
Yeah.
Dinner now. If you
I
hear
have
this, dinner now. I love you, babe, but dinner now.
TikTok or Reels?
TikTok. What? TikTok, girl.
Okay. Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
Yeah,
100% all day.
same, same. Pinterest or a physical bulletin board?
Pinterest.
Yeah.
Pinterest. You
Favorite
didn't even have to finish.
favorite influencer?
Ah. Like influencer, or like artist, like singer songwriter.
Influencer. Influencer.
Influencer.
Influencer.
Kiera Dominique right now on
Okay.
she's on TikTok, real fashion girl, but she's real though. She's real. But I like her. I like her.
Okay.
She's
I'm a tap in. Best 90s movie.
wow, wonderful. That's a beautiful question. Um, wow, that's wow. I'm gonna go for right now. I'm gonna go Love Jones, Juice, and Set It Off.
I just watched Set It Off. Love that movie.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
last one. Football or basketball season?
Basketball.
All right.
Need
That was a
that.
good game.
Yeah.
We know a little bit more about you. Okay, so that was fun, and that was the end of our trivia game. I had a great time talking with you, Taniya.
Yeah.
But before we go, where can people find you?
Oh my gosh, you can find me so many places. You can find me on Instagram at Theoretically. You can also find me at Essentially Black. Head on over there to the platform and shoot, you can find me in your nearest community doing work. But for platform wise, you can find me at those two places.
100%, and I'll definitely link it below. So thank you so much for stepping into the creative yard with me, and thank you to the listeners. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram, and share this episode with your friends. All information will be linked in the description, so be sure to connect. Again, you were such a pleasure to have on this episode. So
Thank
excited.
you. Such a pleasure to be here.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.